folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. M3GAN, turn off. Now wait a minute, I thought we were having a conversation here. Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Gersh, and this week we are doing another movie review. This is M3GAN. The first big horror release of 2023 came out January of this year, and we all saw the video that went viral, of M3GAN doing the little dance thing, doing her thing, which I think is hilarious, by the way. I absolutely love that. Originally, that wasn't intended, I think, to be in the movie. They were just kind of screwing around. They're like, you know what, put it in the movie. Thank God they did, because that made this such a big movie, because that went so viral over the internet and everywhere. Everyone had it on their phones, on TikTok, and all that. So yes, M3GAN released in January 2023, produced by Blumhouse, who's had a lot of hits lately. They're on a roll, they rebooted the Halloween franchise, they did Sinister and all that. The film stars Allison Williams as Gemma, Violet McGramm as Katie, and Amy Donald and Jana Davis both portray M3GAN, the artificial intelligence doll. One does the voice and the other kind of does the physical portrayal of M3GAN. Almost kind of like Darth Vader in a way, how David Prowse did the physical portrayal of Darth Vader, and, James Earl Jones did the voice, so, yeah. As far as the story, the plot, it's kind of fun, it's kind of interesting, but it does kind of remind me of the Child's Play remake recently, and the remake of Chucky was, an artificial intelligence. He was a robot. So it has a lot of similarities, so I won't say it's the most original horror film ever made, but I think it's a lot more well done than that version of Child's Play was, although I did like that film. But the hardcore, Chucky fans did not, and because of that it kind of faded away, even though Child's Play, the remake, was pretty well received by critics, it wasn't as well received by fans. But I think this is a much better, almost like version of that, where I think it had a bigger budget. They were able to do a lot more things with the artificial intelligence aspect of the film, and how M3GAN hooks up to everything, and she's highly high tech, very high tech. So what happens in the film is young Katie is in the car with her parents during the snowstorm, brutal snowstorm, and they get stuck in it, and they end up getting into a big accident, and unfortunately the parents did not survive. But young Katie did, and she went to the hospital and recovered from injuries, and they kind of sent her off to live with her Aunt Gemma. And Aunt Gemma just happens to be the creator of the M3GAN doll. She works for this toy company called Funky. And, she's had a prototype ready for M3GAN because they're looking for the next big thing. She did work on this little troll-type pet thing that was a big hit, but they're looking for the next big thing. And Gemma thinks M3GAN is it. They kind of mess around in the laboratory, but the boss isn't too happy about it. Like, oh, this is going to cost way too much money. This is a waste of time. But Gemma kind of keeps working on it behind the scenes, because she's really believes that this is going to be a big hit. So what happens is when Gemma takes young Katie in, they don't quite bond right away. They're having some problems connecting and, building a relationship. So they kind of bring in the M3GAN doll to see if she can connect with Katie, because, kids today, they're messing around with their cell phones and all that, And this is something that can really work in that area where it's a very high-tech device. And you can actually have a conversation with M3GAN. She has unlimited capacity for conversation and intelligence. She knows pretty much everything. Her memory banks are unlimited, you know. And she's got all kinds of encyclopedic knowledge on everything, basically, you know. She even has emotional response as well. So what happens is she does connect and pair with, like, you know, how you pair with a Bluetooth device or or an iPhone or something, you know. She pairs with M3GAN, and they kind of develop this bond, and M3GAN almost kind of becomes like a parental figure to young Katie. And that kind of causes some conflict with Aunt Gemma, because Aunt Gemma is really supposed to be the parental figure. She's her guardian, you know. And that kind of causes some conflict within the so-called family unit. Another funny thing is when they bring in M3GAN to present to the company, when they do the whole presentation, they kind of use Katie as the as the bait in a way when they're doing their presentation, you know, to show how M3GAN can connect emotionally, and that kind of, and the company is just like, wow, you know, the company Funky is just like, wow, we gotta get this out there, you know, and it does become the next big thing, the next big toy that they're gonna release on the market, you know. And they plan to have a big release party where M3GAN is going to make an appearance, and things go a little haywire after a while. When we see Katie playing in the yard and she loses one of her bow and arrows, M3GAN goes over to try and help her to grab the arrow, and she gets attacked by the neighbor's dog because there's a big hole in the fence, and she gets all messed up. And that causes her to, like, you know, her programming to get all messed up, and she snaps, and, you know, after the dog attack, and we start seeing faults in M3GAN. We start seeing her, like, lose her programming in a way. And there's a great scene after that when M3GAN looks over to the neighbor, and she just kind of, like, stares at her, gives this evil stare. It's, like, awesome. So in the middle of the night, M3GAN starts calling out to the dog, you know, using the neighbor's voice. And it's kind of hilarious because the voice sounds nothing like a human being. It's like, Joey, Joey, come boy, Joey. It's like, this dog's not too bright, is it? That sounds nothing like a human voice. It sounds so robotic. So it's kind of funny. Well, the same thing happens with the M3GAN lures the dog in, kills it, and lures the neighbor in, because the neighbor starts going around looking for the dog, and she kind of lures her in at night and attacks her with this kind of toxic chemicals spraying it on from the shed, and then it starts to, like, melt their face and everything. Like, well, so yeah, M3GAN starts getting pretty brutal. Another great scene is Katie gets sent off to summer camp, and really wants to bring M3GAN with her. And after a while, she kind of, Gemma agrees reluctantly to have M3GAN come with her to the summer camp. And they figure, well, that we'll just send M3GAN over, keep her with the other toys, and it's kind of funny when you see her crumped in with all the other toys, and she looks creepy as hell. Like, she's not supposed to be there with those other toys. She's a lot more advanced than that. Than some stuffed animal. What happens is Katie gets bullied by this nasty kid, you know, messing around with her, and when she starts playing around bullying Katie, M3GAN just shows up out of nowhere, creepy as hell, and And the kid's just like, why don't you make her talk, make her say something? And she wouldn't say anything because Katie is paired with M3GAN, so only she has control over M3GAN in a way. So she just kind of shuts down, and the kid starts slapping her around and beating her up, and then M3GAN just grabs him by the throat, pulls his ear right off, like real slowly, so you can see the gore and the blood splatter everywhere. That's awesome. And then M3GAN starts chasing her around and like an animal, like on all fours. And the kid just rolls down the hill and gets splattered by a car coming. What a great scene. Awesome stuff, yeah. So the film, as far as the gore goes, is not a whole lot, because actually the film, when it was released, was PG-13. Now, I've only seen the unrated version that's on Peacock right now, so I don't really know how much different it is. But for what I'm told, not a whole lot of difference. I imagine that scene might have been cut a little bit. And there's one scene in the elevator that's just so awesome once M3GAN runs into the boss and she does her dance thing, you know. Chases her with a sword. Chases the dude into the elevator and like whoosh. Guy tries to get on the elevator, and once he does, sword right through his chest. And there's the other dude inside watching, who also works for the company. Gets blood splatter all over him, and then M3GAN takes him out. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of gore in the film, but there's just enough to see how dangerous M3GAN can be, you know. And of course they have a big showdown with Aunt Gemma at the end, you know, and they use some other robot she built to try and attack M3GAN and take her out, and we see M3GAN just lose it, you know. And they have a big, huge battle, great epic finale at the end, and yeah, I definitely recommend M3GAN, even though, like I said, it's not the most original film. We've kind of seen this before, you know, with the original Child's Play, and then of course the remake of Child's Play, which I'd say this is most like. So if you didn't like that film, you might not like this one, but what I thought the Child's Play remake was something different, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, the film was definitely well received critically. It's like 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, so that's almost unheard of for a horror film. You know? You don't see that too much. The film is well acted. You're not going to remember the characters all that much. You're going to just remember the story and the situations and the great scenes and the horror of it all. But it's certainly well acted and well portrayed, and it's got some great action, and it's funny, it's got a great sense of humor. So yeah, I really enjoy M3GAN. I give it 2 devil horns up, and thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Urshan, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared. Folks, don't forget to grab your Sean Patrick Urshan gear and represent the Horror Corner. Also, check out these awesome mugs we have, perfect for your coffee. And definitely check out the Horror Hangout live stream t-shirt and represent the legacy of the Horror Hangout. Check out the link in the description below this video.